privilege. And then let's talk about the Lord of the Flies remake. Now, to explain this story, I do have to say spoiler alert, to which some of you are gonna go, wait, you're issuing a spoiler alert for a movie that came out in 1990 about a book that came out in 1954? Yes, people are stupid and love to complain. To briefly sum up the story of Lord of the Flies, a group of boys are on a plane that crash lands on an island. They get their first leader of the group. He tries to get the other boys to perform important survival tasks like keeping a signal fire going, alerting any passing ships, and building shelters. But instead, a lot of the boys like to play and hunt pigs. And eventually, the leader of the group is challenged, and it just spirals from there. And then, well, I don't actually want to ruin the book for those who haven't read it, or the movie for those who haven't watched it. I recommend it, it's pretty good. Well, here's the thing. In this remake, they want to change it from a group of boys to a group of girls. Scott McGahey and David Siegel are signed on to write and direct the movie. When asked about the movie, Siegel said, "We want to do a very faithful but contemporized adaptation of the book, but our idea was to do it with all girls rather than boys. It is a timeless story that is especially relevant today, with the interpersonal conflicts and bullying and the idea of children forming a society and replicating the behavior they saw in grown-ups before they were marooned." And McGahey added that they were taking the opportunity to tell it in a way that hasn't been told before, with girls rather than boys, which shifts things in a way that might help people see the story anew. Now, to no one's surprise, there were many people outraged by this, but to the surprise of some, the people expressing their displeasure in this move come in all colors of the rainbow. We had anti-feminists and feminists alike saying this is stupid. And one of the reasons for that is William Golding, the author of the original book, said he specifically did it with boys rather than girls for a reason. He explained, "If you, as it were, scale down human beings, scale down society, if you land with a group of little boys, they are more like a scaled down version of society than a group of little girls would be. This has nothing to do with equality at all. I think women are foolish to pretend they're equal to men. They are far superior and always have been. But one thing you cannot do with them is take a bunch of them and boil them down into a set of little girls who would then become a kind of image of civilization or society." So if people angry because they say the directors must have missed the point of the story, people angry because they say the storyline cannot be swapped by gender, and also the fact that this gender swap is happening with two men at the helm. Some examples of people sounding off. Roy writing, Lord of the Flies is about replication of systematic masculine toxicity. Every 9th grader knows this. You can read about it on Spark Notes. Rachel Leishman writing, "The female-led Lord of the Flies would never happen because women just branch off into their own respective groups peacefully." To which I do want to call a reasonable amount of bullshit here. I've seen the way women and young girls fight, and it is brutal. And I'm not talking about like on World Star. I've seen groups of women crush other women's souls just with words. It's not like women are immune to being on the giving end of anger and violence. But it should also be noted that there are people defending them, and the few that have been defending them are saying that by people getting angry about this move, are they perpetuating gender stereotypes that men are more aggressive than women, that men are more prone to acts of violence rather than rational conversation? And so shouldn't we welcome whatever this movie becomes, because right now there is no script? But of course, at the same time, understandably, you have people saying, sure. Or is it just Hollywood being lazy and saying, what if we just change the remake into an all-female cast so we don't have to come up with original ideas? And I say personally, I always try to have the mindset of not to hate something before we know what it is exactly, but I will say right out of the gate, this doesn't seem promising. More than happy to be wrong about this. I would welcome that, but for now it's gonna be a pass for me.